Mathias Hansen back with another episode of Countdown to Laravel Live Denmark. And I'm really excited today we have Leah Thompson, who is going to be speaking at Laravel Live Denmark in August. Leah, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for coming all the way to Denmark. It's quite a trip for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I actually have not traveled internationally before. I'd applied for my first passport to go to Denmark, so I'm really excited to get to travel more and actually see something that's not just the United States.
That's awesome. I mean, we're happy to have you. So, and actually, one of the other speakers whom you might know, TJ Miller, I think he's basically in the same boat where I don't know if he's been to Europe before. So you could both maybe travel from the US.
That's exciting. I didn't realize he hadn't really traveled internationally before either, or at least to Europe.
I just listened to his podcast, Mostly Caffeinated, and he mentioned it there. Cool. Well, Leah, I want to hear a bit about how you got into computers originally, how you started coding.
Yeah, so my background is actually in mathematics. So I have a bachelor's of science in mathematics from the University of Florida. I did not major in computer science. I did take 2 programming courses in college. I took one that went over C++, and then I took another that was for C, and it was intro to programming for non-majors, so for non-comp sci majors. My C class scared me so severely that I didn't touch any code for 4 or 5 years.
That's pretty hardcore, starting with C.
It was a bad course too, because it was led by a grad student, and it was his first time ever teaching. He was 2 hours late to our final, and then a fire alarm went off, so we only had 30 minutes for the final that we had to hand write code on the final. What? And he was he didn't want to curve it, and he wanted to make us come back to redo it. And students were like, hey, we're kicked out of our dorms after this final. We can't reschedule it. Right. And he did not want to curve the class at all. I made F's on the exams, and I ended up with a B- in the course because he had to curve it that severely.
Wow.
It was bad.
Insane.
It was bad. I was taking I took a modern physics course, which was special relativity, quantum mechanics, all of that. So it was hard. I took my first sets and logic course, which is theoretical logic. I think it's kind of the comp sci course you have to take, but it's where you do proofs for math, and you go over what was it?
So it's logic?
Truth.
And falls and all this stuff, or?
Kinda, yeah. It's when you talk about unions and sets, and we talked about we had truth tables and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
My brain's eluding me on the other stuff. But I was taking a lot of math courses, and then that course I cried a lot that semester, and I was I suck at programming. I'm not doing it. So I actually was going to go into just applied math, but I graduated during COVID. So I ended up actually going into teaching. I taught high school geometry for a year and a half. And then when I quit it, I was trying to figure out what to do. And I didn't want to go back just to grad school and pay a bunch of money. So I found a free boot camp to learn web development. And I actually started with JavaScript in the MERN stack. But that's kind of how I got to where I am now. I did that program, fell in love with programming, decided I actually liked it, and got a job within 8 months as a web developer.
That's incredible. What a journey. So what happened between doing a pretty awful sounding C course to suddenly loving programming? What led you there?
I love math, which might sound that's not an answer to my question, but I loved calculus and stuff like that because I really like problem solving, and I like having something really complicated and having to use different theorems and rules to simplify it to something that you can solve. That part's really fun for me. So I was trying to find ways to incorporate that to what I'm doing. And whenever I quit teaching, I was trying to figure out what to do. And my husband majored in computer science at the same college. So he started working as a front-end developer. So he's the one who told me hey, why don't you try it again? Why don't you find something and try it, because you might like it. So I tried it, and I realized a lot of the things I liked about math, I can get out of programming, because a lot of it's built on mathematical logic, and then I'm doing the same problem solving. I have a bug, I have to go in Stack Overflow or something, I have to read through docs and try to figure out how to solve it. And to me, that's just really fun. So that's kind of why I liked it. And then of course, I started doing leak code and stuff like that, and you can do the more mathematical versions with that. You can use what is it? you can do like statistics and stuff for the different leak code problems. Like you can do, I can't think of it, but it's the different like stats to solve the problem. So you can usually solve in a programmatic way, but you can also solve it with like kind of more just like math. So I found a lot of similarities between math and programming, and that's why I liked it. And I didn't have a professor who was giving us impossible things to solve within like a week to make me hate my life.
So you found the joy in programming, like you found the bright side of.
Mm-hmm. And I also found a community while doing it, because I started with like 100 devs, which was run by Leon Noel. So there was a bunch of us doing it at one time, and I was able to like band together with a bunch of people. So even if something was hard, I had that community to fall back on. So it made it even more fun for me, because I was also able to like teach it to other people as I was learning it myself. So it also like leaned into my teaching background.
Man, so I've spoken with a handful of speakers already, and it seems like a really common theme is the community. Also, in terms of getting into programming and into Laravel and stuff, the community keeps coming back as being the main thing. So that's really where you found your spark too, was having a community to be part of, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the community that like kept me going, and then that I was starting with JavaScript. I didn't start with Laravel till last year, about last summer, and it was the community in Laravel that like really pulled me in as well and got me to like fully commit to using Laravel.
Yeah, and I think fully commit, you can kind of underline that and put that in bold, because you actually joined Laravel earlier this year, right?
March 20.
Yeah, so how's that?
It's been great. I really enjoy working at Laravel. It's just like working there, all the people are great. The things I'm doing, I feel like fully aligns with my interests, so that's been great too, to just feel like I'm in a position I really like fit in, you know, where like sometimes you work somewhere and you're like, I can do the job, people are great, but maybe this isn't like exactly what I want to do, or it's not like the perfect fit. So like to end up somewhere you feel like, oh, this is actually a good fit, is just like a great feeling to have. And then of course the Laravel community is great, like the other developers who use Laravel, so being able to be part of that by working here and like going to Laravel Live Denmark and doing things like that is just great as well.
Yeah. So when I dial back a little bit more, because I'm wondering, were you always, or is this interesting programming and stuff like that is you know, within the last, I don't know, couple of years, right? Somewhat recent-ish. So I was wondering, just growing up, were you into technology or computers or anything like that? Or was it not really a thing until programming sort of became, you know, a focus for you?
It's like, I'm trying to think how to describe it. I wasn't like one of the people who like built my own computers and like programmed a little bit. Like my husband was like that, like one of the people who like in high school was like wanting to do his own computer build and like really into video games and like doing maybe like mods for Minecraft and different things like that. I wasn't like that, but I was like, by the time I was like, I don't know, 8 or something, like I was one of the main people who knew how to work the computer in my household, and I knew how to get it to work to like play my video games. They were like Barbie games, but I could play my video games on it. I knew how it worked. I'd like upload the different things to like iTunes and stuff. Whereas like my mom didn't even know how to like change the channel on the TV to get it to play the Blu-ray. So I had to like do that. I was like the IT person at my house to like get that stuff to work. So it was always like that, and my family would tell me I should go into programming, but like obviously we know now those are two very different things, just being able to work a computer and like program. I would do little workarounds, like I did have MySpace, so I would like find the like layouts and copy and paste the HTML into MySpace, and I didn't realize it was HTML at the time, but that's like what I was doing. And then I also like would do little hacks I found online where it's like, maybe like a website, you have a subscription and you can see what you got in your bag early if you put this little like HTML blurb in, like you inspected the page and you changed like some settings. And I would do stuff like that, but didn't know I was actually like quote unquote programming, you know?
So you are always very technically inclined, but maybe not really sort of conscious or of it, or it wasn't like a main thing. It was just part of who you are. That's really cool.
Yeah, I was always like part of my life, and I used like Excel and different like Excel hacks that you can use for like stats. For my stats class, we would put in the different like equations and stuff, and then use Excel to be able to like easily calculate the problems. And of course I use like TI-84s and stuff like that, and like I think had like sometimes little games programmed in and stuff. So I was used to using technology.
That's awesome. Have you, speaking of games, have you been into gaming or, playing video games and stuff like that?
A little bit. I used to be into it more when I was younger than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been more like Nintendo and stuff like that. Like we even still own a Nintendo 64. We have one of those.
Awesome.
And we have Super Mario 64. We have Smash Brothers on it, I think. And we just got like the Switch 2. So I do play some games. It's more like Nintendo games. Or like cozy games, kind of like Animal Crossing or like Hello Kitty Island Adventure, stuff like
Animal
that.
Animal Crossing is still huge at home here. Everybody can get behind that. That's so much fun.
I'm hoping they'll come out with one for Switch 2. I did play Final Fantasy, probably 60, 80 hours of that. Final Fantasy 14. So I guess more than other people, I game, but I'm not like, I don't play video games every single day.
Right. Well, nobody has time for that, right?
My husband does. He works, he gets off at 5, video games for 3 hours, and then bed.
All right, I'll take the words back then. Cool. Well, Leah, I want to hear a little bit about your talk you're giving at Laravel Live. We're going to hear about inertia and how to use it with React, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, so the talk will be focusing on using React with Inertia.js. Of course, like the Laravel community is more familiar with what inertia is, so I'll be focusing more on like the React side too, of like using them together and the benefits you would get from that. Because I know there was like a lot of talk in the community about React because of the Laravel team using it more, which they are still using Vue, as like James has talked about with, they're still using Vue for Forge, but like we are using React on some different tools like Cloud and I think for Nightwatch. So just kind of talking more about it and the reasons why someone might want to use React.
Is it a case of trying to find the right tool for the job depending on what you're building?
Yeah, definitely that, and just like talking about the cool things about using React with inertia, and hopefully like a demo of an app using React and inertia. I still have to cook up what fun things I can do with the app, but
cool. Yeah, maybe there's people like me out there who's tried to use inertia and got kind of scared or like not really sure how to approach this because it's a little bit different than your super vanilla old school. You have a back end here and a front end here.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to trying to learn more about that and really for better understand how it works.
Yeah, I think the monolith can look scary sometimes. Like, it's like, oh, it's all together. I don't know. Whereas, like, whenever I saw it, I was like, oh, yes, give me that. Like, I want it. Yeah. I don't want to have to worry about how I'm going to get these properties. I can just send it on the back end to my front end component and just have it as a prop. Like, to me, I loved it, but I can definitely see how it can be intimidating.
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt, for sure. Cool. Well, Leah, you're saying it's your first time going to Europe, right? So
yeah.
I'd love to hear, is there anything you like to see or do or experience or eat when coming to Copenhagen?
Yeah, I'm hoping I have time to just kind of like walk around and explore. I know there's like the Tivoli Gardens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to. Really just walking around, because I think it's really walkable, right?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely say so, yeah.
Just being able to like adventure would be nice. And then for like eating, I'm not huge on seafood. I do like some seafood, like fish and stuff. Obviously, I'm going to try it if I'm in Copenhagen. I'm going to embrace it and try it. I don't know if I'll be eating any oysters, but I am excited because whenever I was reading reviews, the food is supposed to be incredible there.
Yeah, I mean, Denmark is not really known for its great culinary exports, but yes, seafood for sure. And Copenhagen is very multicultural, so that should be something for everyone there. And
so if I get sick of seafood, if I get sick of seafood, I have something else.
Yeah, and actually the conference venue is right next to a big area with tons of food trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So there is like tons of options for different cuisines to try for lunch or for later.
Well, that's exciting.
And yeah, I would definitely recommend visiting Tivoli Gardens. It's just something for everyone, whether you like roller coasters or just walking around, hanging out, and seeing the gardens and stuff. It's lots of fun and easy to get to. It's like in central Copenhagen, right? And it's an old park, really, really old park.
I'll definitely add it to my list because like everywhere I looked, people mentioned it. So I'm like, okay, adding that.
Yeah, I can't really go wrong going to Tivoli. That's for sure. Yeah, well, Leah, really excited to see you in August and have you speak at Laravel Live Denmark. And yeah, we're happy that you're making the trek over and looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on here today and having me speak at Laravel Live Denmark. And it was great talking to you.
That was Leah Thompson. If you want to hear more from Leah and our other speakers, come join us at Laravel Live Denmark on August 21st and 22nd. We still have a few tickets left. Buy yours at laravellive.dk.